the designer I mean, how much of what you're wearing, what your character's appearance is going to be, and I largely mean costume, becomes your in for understanding that person that you're going to be playing. Is costume a big part of helping you become that character? Understanding what she's going to wear, is that a great way to sort of figure out who this person is and how you want to play them?
So nowadays how I do it is I first try to figure out what I think the character is, and then I try to figure out how would this character dress. And then there are, there are these points where we talk as much as possible to the costume designer on board that project to actually create something that is what the character we think would be, and somewhere it has to feel natural to me as well. If I'm playing that part, I have to make it my own. And I have always firmly believed the moment you walk onto a set with that costume and whatever that get-up is, I think if you get it right, I think 50% of the battle is won. And then, of course, you can enhance it with everything, your heart and soul and your blood that you put into it. But I think 50% of the battle is won if you get the look right. Your mood is actually a great way to even get inspired. Because I think like sometimes when you don't have anything in mind, sometimes you come up with something really creative. And I many a times discovered things when I've been in a lot of constraint. And I feel like creativity comes out of constraint, where you don't have the things you need. So I actually use that as a food for whenever I want to dress up.
Masaba, you're an actor as well now, and a pretty good one. Both in the show, Masaba.
I would work actor as well.
What is that like? I mean, do you call the shots on what you wear when you're on screen?
Listen, that was really hard not to do. Okay, because I just feel like it was modern love. When Masaba season 1, I remember I was like, should I be saying that cushion shouldn't be that color? Is that my department? No, it's art. And then someone screams art, and then something else happens. And I'm like, wow, there's so many people just to move a cushion or whatever, On the fashion piece, I did not get involved, and that's the only advice that I asked my mother for. I said, is this my business? She said, no, not at all. Stay out of it. Let people do their job, you do your job. On this set, you're an actor. So I did that, and I had a great time. But I remember in season 2, I wanted to upgrade, everything that we did, everything from the lighting to the set, the costume, everything was just a step up, because I don't think that season 1 was 100%, and very openly calling that out. But I remember in season 2, I said, let's just get an upgrade. And we did that, and we had a lot more fun with costumes. So a lot of even the other cast was much better dressed, and I think we learned because this was a new format. On Modern Love, I think that's the first time, and I agree with what Tamanna said, where 50% of the job of an actor is done when you are dressed to the T, for that part. And I remember in Modern Love, I was playing this girl from Thane, would you believe it? And I was supposed to have like one pair of sneakers and like loose jeans and this boy shirt on top. And my hair was in a ponytail. And I was wearing this liner, that very, I call it the mummy liner, it's just like, it's thick and it doesn't do anything for anyone's eyes. I'm into the winged liner situation. And I remember telling the director, I said, this is not me. He said, yeah, exactly, this is not you, you're not playing yourself, you're playing a character. And that's when I understood the power of how when you dress a certain way, you dress like the character, it does so much of the job that dialogue even cannot do, Your body language changes, the way the chemistry with your co-star changes, everything changes. And I remember I said, can I just have a little bit of a flick? Can I just have a little bit more contouring? He said, no, you can't. You're a regular girl, you can't do all of this. So I really believe in the power of costume to do a lot of the storytelling and introduction for a character before the character can even speak a word. And it's very powerful.
Tamanna, what happens when you're in, I don't want to use the word conflict, that's a strong word, but in disagreement, the way that you see this character might be a little bit different from the way that your director does or your costume designer does, and the disagreement is over the visual element of how this character is going to look. What tends to happen? You also bring years of experience as an actor. Is your voice heard as an actor?
I think today, yes. But what I like to do, and I love doing this with my team, and as you know, Rajiv, films will always be teamwork. Whether we like it or not, it's not one person's perspective that's being put out there. It's one person's vision, yes, but there are lots of different perspectives, energies that come together to create someone's vision. So I think today's filmmakers are a lot more, aware that an actor is actually going to make that character his own. So I do have times where there's a disagreement, and whenever there is a disagreement, what I actually do is, recently I was supposed to do a look test for something, and they wanted me to try a warmer skin tone, which I was very happy to explore because I've done it in films like Bahubali, I've done it in films, a Tamil film called Devi, so I've done it a bunch of times. And because I do believe one must fully transform when a character demands it. But even in just in the span of what, Bahubali, 7-8 years ago, the digital, the way the digital film camera is capturing us today, it can literally see the pores of our skin. So if I am wearing something that's like a layer on my skin, it's going to look synthetic, it's going to look like makeup, and that's a layer between the audience and me. And that was how I felt about it. But I truly feel, because this is a teamwork, we need to make sure that everybody feels the same as we feel. So I went through the process of applying that. Then it was my director himself was like, I don't think this works. So I feel like in films, we either convince the other person or we get convinced. And when you know you're saying something that's true and strong, you stand by it and you fight for it. And at the end, the film should work. After all this drama that we have put through, the last thing that we're hoping is this movie and this character is liked by people. So that's the main goal, actually.
Masaba, when you're dressing an actor, it could be for public appearance.
Your solo photo. A single picture. आपका ही रहेगा। यार एक बार यहाँ देखिए।